damage any asbestos covering or otherwise identify exposed asbestos must notify their supervisors or the safety department immediately. Do not work in the immediate area until repairs have been made by an authorized company. If you come across exposed asbestos or suspected asbestos material, do not touch it and contact the area supervisor. Lead is a toxic metal that exists in some areas of the mill, particularly within painted surfaces. All paint throughout the mill is considered to be lead-containing and therefore must be removed using vacuum-assisted tools, or VATs, prior to welding, burning, torch cutting, grinding, etc. High-efficiency particulate absorbing, or HEPA vacuums, must be turned on before the tool is turned on and turned off after the tool is turned off. Care must be taken not to disturb lead dust when changing vacuum bags. The safety department keeps an inventory of lead paint samples collected throughout the mill. Workers are encouraged to check with the safety department as the areas to which they have been assigned may have already been sampled. A 4-inch heat-affected zone on each side of the surface to be cut, welded, etc. must be free of lead-containing materials. Workers must contact the environmental department for disposal of lead-containing debris. Other materials that may contain lead include batteries, pipes and metal joints, babbiting, solder, conduit, and wiring. Nuclear gauges exist in some areas of the mill. These are low-level radiation devices used for level and density control. Before performing work near such devices, contact a mill representative or the E&I shop in that area. The moving equipment policy establishes minimum expectations to members, visitors, vendors, and contractors working at Escanaba. Authorized personnel are individuals who, by training, are qualified to enter restricted areas annotated by barriers, indicated by blue lines painted in the operating areas. Affected personnel are members who work where moving equipment is operated but have not been trained. Affected personnel are able to enter restricted areas when accompanied by an authorized user after receiving instruction about hazards of the moving equipment from an authorized member or the equipment has been locked out. Individuals entering a department who do not have a thorough understanding of the department requirements or the procedures outlined below are to first contact the control room operator to ensure their own safety prior to working in the area. Certain areas around moving equipment have been identified by solid blue lines painted on the floor or by signage indicating no access. Persons other than trained operations or maintenance personnel wishing to enter these areas must request permission and be escorted by operating area personnel. Only drivers authorized and trained in the safe operation of industrial trucks shall be permitted to operate the vehicles. No riders other than the driver shall be permitted on the vehicles. Riders will face disciplinary action. Operators shall complete safety checklists at the beginning of each shift. Operators should use extra caution in close quarters and at corners, especially blind corners. Since there are no stoplights, turn indicators, etc., operators must use their good judgment. Pedestrians have the right-of-way. However, they should use common sense and yield to oncoming traffic. Operators' ability to avoid accidents depends on how alert they are. Safety rules. Stop and sound horns at all corners and intersections, then proceed slowly. Travel in reverse when descending inclines while a truck is loaded or when forward vision is obstructed. Never drive trucks up to anyone standing in front of a fixed object of such size that the person could be caught between the truck and the object. Always use gloves and proper eye protection when changing propane tanks. Obey speed limits at all times. Wear seatbelts on trucks equipped with them. Prior to working in an area, identify emergency exits and assembly points, phone systems, eye wash and shower stations. Observe posted warning signs and chemical placards, and know the appropriate PPE requirements when working on related systems. Wash up with mill water hoses only. The use of a white canvas fire hose sets off an alarm and alerts the emergency response team. Fire water cannot be used without obtaining prior approval from the loss prevention officer at the front gate. The paper machine and finishing rooms contain photoelectric eyes that activate equipment. If you trip one of those eyes, contact the nearest employee so equipment operation can be checked. Never work under coaters or paper machines while in operation. When paper machines are shut down, paper will drop to the basement without warning. Stay out until all paper is cleared from the overhead rolls. Various corrosive chemicals are used throughout the mill, as well as hot water. If you feel something drip on your head or body, don't look up. Move out of the way since the material may be harmful to your eyes or skin. If you receive a chemical or thermal burn, seek medical attention. Any work located on tank tops must be approved by Verso engineering personnel. Walking on any tank top without authorization is grounds for dismissal. The boiler house area includes 5 boilers: number 7 power boiler, number 8 power boiler, number 9 power boiler, number 11 power boiler, and number 10 recovery furnace, evaporators, turbines, and water treatment equipment. Specific information on each of these areas and processes can be obtained from the operators in the control room. Anyone entering the recovery boiler area is required to sign in and sign out when leaving. The contractor sign-in sheet is located on the ground floor near the north entrance to the recovery boiler area. There is another sign-in sheet located outside the boiler house control room. This should be used by individuals other than contractors. In most cases, produce steam at temperatures exceeding 900 degrees and pressures as high as 1,500 psi. If you hear a steam leak, do not look for it. Report by calling 2469. Know that hot surfaces do exist, and always be aware of the possibilities of blowback when working near operating boilers. The use of respiratory protection is recommended when working around dust, coal, and fly ash. Caution is advised when traveling through the boiler house area. Unanticipated temperatures, chemical leaks, and hidden floor hazards, such as open drains, may exist. When necessary, boiler operators may initiate an emergency shutdown procedure, or ESP, leave the area immediately, and report to the assembly area when warning lights and alarms sound. Use stairways and emergency exits, but do not use elevators. If you are in the recovery boiler area, follow the yellow floor arrows to exit and use ladders down the side of the building. Stay away from the bottom and corners of boilers because automatic valves will drain the boilers into these areas during an ESP. One of the potential hazards that can occur in the boiler house is the presence of hydrogen sulfide gas, or H2S. Hydrogen sulfide smells like rotten eggs at low levels. However, at high levels, it can shut down the olfactory sense of smell. Sources of this gas include the mill's non-condensable gas collection system, liquor spills, processed sewers, and rotting pulp. The boiler house has an alarm system that will alert you if hazardous levels of H2S are present in your work area. The alarm consists of a red warning light and a horn with a constant level sound. A similar H2S alarm system is also located in the craft mill. If the alarm is activated, put on your escape respirator and vacate the area immediately. Motor control centers and process control rooms are off limits unless you are specifically authorized to perform work in them. Do not use these rooms as shortcuts or a break area. Only approved electrical contractors are allowed in MCC rooms. Avoid bumping or operating unfamiliar controls. Do not place hoses or cords in close proximity to electrical panels. The woodyard begins as you come down the stairs to the contractor shack. During normal operation, the following areas are off-limits to contractors, vendors, and visitors. Chip pads east and west of the screen room. Chip pads east and west of the drum building. Bark storage pad and silo, also west of the drum building. Entering any of these areas requires approval from the woodyard supervisor. You must also contact the appropriate heavy machinery operators by radio and get their permission to enter. Never travel through any of these areas without authorization. Heavy equipment operators have limited visibility and will not be looking for stray traffic. Equipment size is also a component of this safety concern. Hazardous equipment includes trucks, front-end loaders, grappler hose, and exposed chip augers. The craft mill consists of the bleach plant, the lime kiln, and the digester building. Workers entering these areas must have process safety management or PSM awareness training and use appropriate PPE as applicable. The craft mill has an alarm system that alerts workers to the presence of hazardous levels of toxic gases, including chlorine dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. The alarm system is designed to alarm only in the areas where the gases pose a hazard. You should evacuate when the alarm in your work area is activated. When this occurs, all contractors and visitors in that area should don their escape respirators and evacuate the area. This policy establishes the requirements for the Hazard Communication Right to Know program. The goal of this policy is to provide all workers with information such as labels, safety data sheets or SDSs, and training necessary to aid in preventing illness and injury that might result from exposure to hazardous materials under normal conditions of use or in emergencies. The Safety Department maintains an inventory of hazardous materials, including hazardous components of raw materials, materials produced in the process, finished products, and products brought into the mill for use. Complete sets of safety data sheets are kept at the front gate and on company computers. Ask Verso employees for computer access. Each SDS provides a description including exposure limits, hazards, and exposure treatments. All contractors must provide SDS information for materials brought on site. A copy must be readily available. A copy of each SDS must be given to the safety department prior to bringing the related materials on site. Our mill adheres to the Right to Know Act. Upon request, mill personnel will provide SDS information for chemicals that you may come in contact with in your work area. A Verso representative can brief you on relevant products and chemicals whenever necessary. All containers of hazardous materials, from small bottles to storage tanks, shall be properly labeled with the materials' identities and the appropriate hazard warnings, such as corrosive, toxic, and flammable. Tanks, silos, and other permanently fixed vessels storing hazardous materials must exhibit the mill's standard NFPA labels, which include product name, hazards, confined space warning, and emergency telephone number. Contact the safety department for any required signage. Proper flagging and barricading is designed to limit access to potentially dangerous conditions or situations such as line breaking, confined space entry, or overhead work. It is important to flag or barricade areas where work is being performed or where hazards exist to which others cannot or should not be exposed. Flagging and barricading materials can include lumber, fencing, lockable gates, sawhorses, flashing signs, and ribbons. When an area is flagged off, signs must be posted and all required information on the signs provided. Yellow barricade tape is synonymous with caution. Yellow barricade tape means personnel may pass through an area, but they must be aware of specific conditions or tasks going on inside the barricaded area. This information must be on the signs. Red barricade tape means stay out. Only authorized personnel are allowed inside areas barricaded with red tape. Red barricade tape indicates the presence of known hazardous conditions or jobs to which others must not have access. Only those who installed the flagging or barricading may remove it. When a supervisor can verify that a hazard has been removed or eliminated, the supervisor can remove the barricade. The Escanaba Mill is committed to operating in a manner that is safe for workers, the public, and the environment. As part of this commitment, the mill has established a two-part program to help ensure safe operation of the processes at this facility. The first part is a process safety management program that complies with the requirements of OSHA Regulation 29 CFR 1910.119, Process Safety Management of Highly Hazardous Chemicals. The second is a risk management program that complies with the requirements of the Environmental Protection Agency Regulation 40 CFR Part 68, Accidental Release Prevention Requirement. Process safety management is designed to prevent or minimize the consequences of catastrophic releases of toxic, reactive, flammable, or explosive chemicals. PSM systems include the bleach plant, chlorine dioxide generation, water and water waste treatment areas. PSM addresses safe work practices in areas such as lockout, confined space entry, opening process equipment or piping, and hot work. Contractors must obtain authorization to work on these systems. Many of the chemical processes are located in the kraft mill. The kraft mill includes the bleach plant, lime kiln, and digester buildings. Alarms are located in the kraft mill to alert people to the presence of these hazardous gases. They are designed to only be triggered in the area of release. When you see an amber or red alarm accompanied by a sounding horn, put on your escape respirator and vacate the area immediately. Do not use elevators. An amber alarm is accompanied by an intermittent horn. This warning occurs when chlorine dioxide fills the air at the OSHA-regulated short-term exposure limit of 0.3 parts per million. Put on your escape respirator and vacate the area immediately. Red alarms are accompanied by a continuous horn. The chemical release may be chlorine, chlorine dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, or sulfur dioxide. Put on your escape respirator and vacate the area immediately. The hazardous chemicals we will discuss are chlorine, chlorine dioxide, anhydrous ammonia, methanol, and turpentine. Chlorine is used at the base station, the filter building, and the sanitary treatment plant. Chlorine is stored in either 1-ton or 150-pound cylinders. Chlorine is an inhalation hazard, and alarms are located in each area where it is used. In the event an alarm goes off, use your escape respirator and evacuate the area. Chlorine dioxide. Sources include stock tanks and chests, stock washers, and generator building. If an amber or red alarm goes off, use your escape respirator and vacate the area immediately. Anhydrous ammonia is located in the effluent plant. Anhydrous ammonia is an inhalation hazard. Alarms are located near the distribution piping and in the effluent plant building. If the alarms go off, evacuate the area immediately. Methanol is used in the R8 chlorine dioxide generator. It is stored in tanks located north of the bleach plant. Methanol has a flash point of 54 degrees Fahrenheit. It burns with a colorless flame. It is an eye and skin hazard. Turpentine is a byproduct of wood being processed in the digesters. It is a condensed gas from the digesters and is stored in a tank until loaded on a rail car. Turpentine is a flammable liquid. It is a skin and eye irritant. Vapors are considered an inhalation hazard. All safety and health emergencies must be reported to the Loss Prevention Department at the front gate by calling emergency telephone extension 2911 or 906-233-2911 on a cellular phone. This number and telephone line are dedicated solely to safety and health emergencies. The loss prevention officers receiving the calls have been trained to provide immediate response to the reported emergencies, including fire, medical, or hazardous materials related. The front gate is equipped with a modern communications network, which provides loss prevention officers with the capability of making immediate contact with well-trained, on-site emergency response personnel. The officers are also responsible for contacting outside emergency response agencies if needed. Contractors reporting emergencies should remain calm and stay on the telephone until the employees receiving the calls advise them that all the information needed to properly respond to the calls has been obtained. The mill uses two means of emergency notification on site: the Gatetronics loudspeaker system indoors and the severe weather siren outdoors. The Gatetronics system consists of a distinctive alarm tone that is broadcast throughout the mill, followed by a verbal message detailing what actions are required. The Gatetronics system is used to initiate area or mill-wide evacuations. It is also used in the event that severe weather is approaching. All workers must know the mill's general evacuation procedures, the specific details of the evacuation plan for their work areas, their evacuation routes, and the locations of their emergency assembly points. The evacuation plans can be obtained by contacting supervisors and are posted near work areas. When the evacuation alarm and notification sounds, employees should turn off equipment, leave their work areas by the nearest safe routes, proceed calmly to their assigned emergency assembly points, and report to the head counters for their areas. In the event of a tornado or severe thunderstorm, a loss prevention officer will activate the severe weather siren and make an announcement over the Gatetronics system. When the siren sounds, workers outside should take shelter in the nearest buildings or low areas. Those indoors should stay away from outside doors and windows. For more information, review the area evacuation plans with supervisors. It is a contractor's responsibility to report accidents or incidents and near misses, no matter how small, immediately to their supervisors. Contractors are required to provide medical treatment for their employees. In case of safety or health emergencies, call extension 2911 or 906-233-2911 on a cellular device for assistance. Contractors must conduct an investigation in the event of an injury or near miss. This should be conducted once the workers have received appropriate medical treatment. A copy of the completed investigation must be provided to Verso if requested. BMP is a government-mandated program that covers EPA cluster rules. BMP helps create protocols for the control of black liquor, soap, and turpentine. These materials are generated during the pulping process in the craft mill and recovery areas. Black liquor and soap storage tanks each have containment walls and an overflow that sends material into the strong waste sewer system for storage or reprocessing. Containment dikes and the strong waste reclaim system help prevent these materials from entering the mill sewer system. If you notice a leak or spill of these materials, immediately notify your supervisor. Spills of black liquor, soap, or turpentine that reach the mill sewer system may create treatment plant upsets and odors. Should any such spill occur, the contract supervisor must immediately notify a Verso operations representative. Good luck with your training.